Hey, what's good, veterans? Jimmy V here, mortgage originator, specializing in serving veterans all across this great nation. Today, I want to talk to you about qualifying for a VA home loan. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to qualify for a VA loan and set yourself up for success and get out there and put rounds down range utilizing your VA home loan benefits. Good to go? But before I do, we've got some business to take care of. If you find that this information is of value, do me a favor, show your love, click like on this video. In addition to that, if you want to learn more about VA home loan benefits, consider subscribing to the channel. That's what it's here for. And then lastly, drop a comment down below with your questions and I will personally make sure that they get answered for you. Roger that? All right, so let's get started. VA income and qualifying. How do you qualify for a VA loan? You've heard me say it before. Not only do you have to be eligible, I have videos on eligibility for VA loans, but you have to be pre-qualified or qualified to use a VA loan. And that's exactly what I want to speak to you about today. So the first thing that I would tell you is simply this. You need to have the required credit score from the mortgage lender in order to qualify for the VA loan.
Jimmy, what's the required credit score?
Generally speaking, it's 620 across the board. Why? Because that does two things. It increases the likelihood that you'll get approved for the loan. And lastly, it also helps you to get more competitive financing terms. Good to go? Now that you know a little bit about credit scores and qualifying, the other thing that I want to talk to you about is the income piece and how VA qualifies veterans, which is different or unique to any other financing product that's on the marketplace today. Here's the reality. VA qualifies you and I as veterans differently. They use something called residual income. So I'm going to kind of peel back the curtain for a second and speak to you in lending terms so that way you guys are going to have all of this information in advance and upfront and set yourself up for success. Good to go? So what we as mortgage originators and lenders do is we use your gross monthly income. If you receive net income like VA service-connected disability, we can actually make it appear as if it's taxable as well. So we use your gross monthly income. And then what's the first thing that you do, veterans? Well, two things in life that are certain, right? Death and taxes. So we've got to deduct out the taxes on that number. In addition to that, you've got to deduct out any reoccurring expenses like auto loans, credit cards, student loans. You take that and you deduct it out from that number. And then VA even has a calculation for monthly maintenance and utilities that we as mortgage originators deduct out from that number as well. So here's where I'm at. You're left over with this net number. And what we as mortgage originators do is we compare that number according to the VA residual income chart. And as long as the veteran has enough VA residual income, they will qualify for the loan by way of income. You following me along on that? So that's what I want you to know in reference to qualifying by way of income on VA loans moving forward into the future. I was thinking the other day and I had thought to myself, you know what, I've never really covered this before, but I do think it's important for you as veterans and active duty service members to know and understand, and that's qualifying with your spouse on a VA loan. Depending upon what state you live in, there are specific states that are referred to as community property states. So if you came to me today to get or obtain a VA home loan and you lived in a community property state, we as the mortgage lender would need to pull a copy of your spouse's credit report and include that in the file. So not only would we have to include it in the file, but you as the veteran would have to qualify with your spouse's liabilities. Now, why would a spouse not be on the loan? Well, it's easy. Sometimes the spouse's credit scores aren't as competitive as yours, meaning this, that you can actually get more favorable financing terms by leaving your spouse off of the loan if they don't have income to include in the scenario. But you still have to qualify with their debts. And that is something that's very important because if that's not done up front in advance, the lender might issue you a pre-qual that maybe isn't really pre-qualled. You following me along on that? Jimmy, well, what if my spouse works? Good news. If your spouse is employed and is responsible for paying all of those liabilities, then we can use their income to offset those debts, allowing you to qualify for more of a mortgage. Good to go? So that's a little bit about VA income, credit scores, qualifying, really what you need to know in order to be able to get out there and take advantage of your VA home loan benefit. Remember, if you have more questions, drop a comment down below, consider subscribing to the channel to learn more about VA home loans, and know this, I'm not hard to find. So if you have direct questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. My name's Jimmy V. I specialize in VA loans and I would be honored to be a resource for you. We'll talk to you soon.